Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. This week is commemorated as Campfire USA Birthday Week in US, which takes place during the second week of March every year. And this year, it is from March 13 to 19. Campfire has created a visionary and distinctively American program where youth have a voice, families share meaningful time, and serve to others is a measure of every activity. You might remember Campfire different eras. So what's kept them going? Their commitment to diversity and inclusion from the beginning, their incorporation of youth voice in everything they do, and their use of cutting-edge research to meet the best needs of today's families. Campfire USA, the largest co-ed non-sectarian youth development organization in the US, was founded in 1910 by Luther Gulick, MD, and his wife, Charlotte Vetter Gulick, as Campfire Girls. As youth leaders, the Gulicks brought to life the idea that each girl's growth is her own hands, and she is a person of important worth. Building on these ideas, Campfire created a new model for non-profit youth development. Girls as the center of their own learning and development experience. From its beginnings in Montana, Campfire grew rapidly throughout the century. During its first decade, in 1974, Campfire began an organization where boys and girls could be together to learn skills and values, what would help them become healthy and adults through programs focused on self-development and teamwork. Over time, the organization has evolved to reach out to all youth regardless of socioeconomic status or cultural background. The needs of today's children often require programs that involve the entire family unit rather than just focusing on individual children. They believe that every child deserves an opportunity to succeed in life, and they help them find their special spark, something they are passionate about to create their own bright futures. This week, we are celebrating 112 years of Campfire USA. The organization has come a long way from its humble beginnings. They now have programs for both boys and girls, including Campfire Iconic Bluebirds program for kindergarten, adventure clubs for preteens and teens, and the Young Adult Network for people aged 18 to 35 who want to make difference in their communities. This week is also commemorated as Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Week from March 13 to 19, 2024 in US. It takes place in this week and it is dedicated to spreading awareness about the autoimmune disease. Multiple sclerosis is a condition that affects the central nervous system of an individual throughout the course of life. Multiple sclerosis awareness week was created to educate the spread awareness about the realities of living with multiple sclerosis. It also informs the general public on how to assist people who have been diagnosed. Multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease that affects the central nervous system. This autoimmune disease has been in existence for centuries. It was first documented by a French professor, Jean Crouvelère, in 1793. Professor Crouvelère gave a detailed description of a multiple sclerosis but failed to identify it as a separate disease. By 1836, a Swiss pathologist, George Edgar Rindfleisch, discovered that inflammations attributed to lesions were distributed in the blood cells. The first recognition of multiple sclerosis came in 1868 by the French neurologist Jean-Baptiste Charcot. He made observations and consulted reports from his predecessors. He named the disease signs and plagues. Attempts at establishing a diagnosis for the disease were also made by Jean-Martin Charcot. He observed the cognitive changes in the partners and made the observation that conceptions were slowly formed. He built more about the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis in a book titled Charcot Triad. By 1965, an attempt to standardize the method of diagnosing MS was made by Schumacher. He stated that the dissemination of lesions in time and space and size the requirements he had were adopted and improved in 2010. The updated criteria for Poser and McDonald are still in use. By the 20th century, theories about the cause of multiple sclerosis led to effective treatments being developed in the 1990s. By the 21st century, the treatments became refined, using only one proven lesion for the diagnosis of MS. Although there is no cure for MS, improvements in the treatment methods give hope for the future. Orange is a color used to represent Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Week. Because of the similarity between its shape and MRI brains, butterflies are used to symbolize MS. A diagnosed MS patient has a life expectancy of 25 to 35 years. There is no known cause for multiple sclerosis, having a mysterious cause. Multiple sclerosis affects up to 4 times the number of women than men. Women are more affected. Multiple sclerosis symptoms are not definite, they vary from person to person. Multiple sclerosis patients can suffer a relapse and can have remission periods. By 2030, the number of multiple sclerosis cases worldwide amounted to 2.3 million. Today is also commemorated as Fill Our Staplers Day in US. It is a day we can all come together to solve a small but very real issue. Staplers are a very important tool for most of us during work time. They keep our files and papers organized and they hold things together like frames and overall aids to maintain a smoother working environment. But this can only happen when they are full file. For this reason, the Dull Men's Club created a day to remind people that field staplers save time and make business run smoothly. Staplers have been around for a long time. The first known stapler was said to have been invented by unknown in the 18th century to help him hold the decrees and documents together. Before then, people used wax made alloys and metals to hold the papers together. Today is also commemorated as International Every Girl Wins Day, which helps bring attention to women's rights worldwide, especially to young girls. The celebrations involve talks, lectures, and conferences on women's empowerment in every country. The goal is to achieve long-term systematic change that addresses women's rights to equity. The day also inspires young girls to take pride in their most essential assets. They are encouraged to support each other and be ambassadors of the female empowerment movement, not just beneficiaries of it. The Every Girl Wins Institute introduced this day. Every Girls Institute founder and CEO Dr. Christine Kozachek established March 13 as International Every Girl Wins Day. Dr. Kozak started the initiative to help young girls turn their lives around and become successful members of the society. The institute shows young women, they can overcome challenges and holding them back from leading a personal and professional lives. The organization provides written lessons, virtual interactions, and group sessions, teaching students how to turn their ambitions into achievements and create action plans for their goals in life. The Every Girl Wins Institute is not the first organization dedicated to this cause. The women's rights movement began in the 19th century, focusing on voting rights. In July 1848, around 300 people, most of them women, gathered in New York to lay the foundation for the women's rights movement, including strategies to achieve their goals. This meeting is known as the Seneca Convention, and it resulted in the approval of a voting rights resolution. However, this was only the beginning of the decade of activism and lobbying, for even the most tolerant and supportive male congressmen were reluctant to allow women to vote. In 1890, the National American Women's Suffrage Association was formed between 1910 and 1914, and NAWSA made significant gains at the state level, and by 1970 succeeded in getting a woman elected to the US Congress. This year coined with the US entry into the First World War group. Groups like the Women Lands Army showed that women could play an active, productive role in the modern world if given equal opportunity and freedom. Today, hundreds of organizations are dedicated to women's rights, including UN Women and Global Fund for Women. But there's still a long way to go. Today is also commemorated as National Coconut Torching Day in US. It is a day to celebrate rich and creamy dessert that has people smacking their lips all over them. A tortilla is basically a form of cake without flour. It is dense, multi-layered cake made with breadcrumb or groundnut base and layered with a heavy helping of cream jam, buttercream, ganache of fruit. The word coconut is derived from the Iberian word el coco, which refers to a mythical hairy monster, which must have been a nod to the coarse hairs outside a coconut. The name is said to have been bestowed by Spanish and Portuguese explorers. However, there has been controversy about the actual origins of the coconut fruit, as the same say it is originated in the South Asia, in the Ganges Delta. Others believe it originated in South America. But the truth is, it is originated in India, especially South India. The main ingredients required to make a torch are breadcrumbs or nuts, sugar, and flavoring. Add-ons depend on individual recipes, and these may include icing sugar, buttercream, butter, or fruit toppings. There are no limits to the level of creativity used in baking a torte. To begin baking a torte, the oven should be preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and tortillas are usually baked in spring form pans, and the average baking time is 35 minutes to an hour. Today is also commemorated as National Good Samaritan Day in US. It is a day to celebrate and encourage kindness and selfless despite our differences. The phrase Good Samaritan is based on a biblical parable. The day also commemorates the death of Catherine Kitty Genovese, who was killed in the New York, a little distance from her own home. It is believed that Kitty would have lived if others have intervened during the attack. On this day, we reminded we are reminded to be our own brother's keeper in all circumstances. Actually, the term Good Samaritan has its origin in a biblical story, being one of the parables told by the Jesus. When asked by a religious leader, "Who is my neighbor?" Jesus responded with this parable, which can be found in the Luke chapter 10 from 30th to 37th verse. A Jewish man was traveling from the city of Jerusalem down to Jericho. On his way, robbers attacked him, stole clothes, and left him half dead on the side of the road. So while going back, a church father and a church assistant came along, saw the injured man, and walked on by without offering help. Then came a Samaritan. Samaritans were a class of people living in the northern part of the kingdom of Israel. During biblical times, there was a much anonymity between the Jews and Samaritans to the point that the two groups wouldn't so much as speak to each other or pass through each other's town. So in the story, a despised Samaritan came upon the injured man and felt compassion for him. He bound his wounds, put the man on his donkey, and took him to an inn, where he went even further by taking care of him. The next day, the Samaritan paid the inn owner and asked him to take care of the wounded man, promising to cover any extra expenses that might be incurred. Jesus concluded by saying his audience to go and do the same. So this celebration is linked to tragic death of Catherine Genovese, who was murdered in New York on March 30, 1964. Had someone intervened during the attack, Catherine might have lived. So Good Samaritan Day is a reminder to offer a helping hand to others as often we can. Even long before Christianity or any other religion has emerged. In Sanatana Dharma, it is also said we all belong to Vasudeva Kutumbakam. That means we all are one family and we need to take care of our family, not only just human beings, but also animals, planets, and every living and non-living beings on the planet. As a family, we need to take care of each other and support each other and also help to strive in helping and promoting all the species on the planet without forgoing their rights and benefits on the planet. We also need to have sustainable approaches so that our future generations can also enjoy these species. So, even the same we can see reflecting in various various belief systems, and various religions and various languages. So, today is also commemorated as National Jewel Day, which recognizes precious stones in US, special heirlooms and gems of people that make them. Jewelry has the uncanny ability to make time stand still. In that moment, all we see is the beauty. There is so much love and care that goes into the crafting of a single piece of jewelry. As humans became more skilled at working with metals, jewelry making became increasingly more sophisticated and decorative. As a result, the value of metals like gold began to grow over in time. In the ancient world, people buried gold with the dead to serve their owners well in the afterlife. Soon, jewels would come to signify person's status and rank, and it was especially true in medieval Europe and its intensely hierarchical society. The rich reserved the right to wear silver, gold, and other precious gems. Those belonging to lower ranks typically owned base metals like pewter and copper. Jewelry also became flashier over the ages. Cutting techniques became more advanced during the Renaissance age, which meant shiner stones and elaborate enamels causing both sides of the stone. It was also during the time that people wore jewelry to sign political strength or religious affiliation. By the 19th century, the world has grown increasingly wary with industrialization. So, as a way to reclaim their souls and reject machine led systems, jewelers at the time focused on creating beautiful handcrafted pieces instead. Since then, the art of jewelry making has continually pushed boundaries. It began with the movements like Art Deco and Art Nouveau in the 1950s. By the 1960s, conventions would spend up entirely. A radical new generation of creators defined what we know about jewelry. New technology and non-precious materials emerge each year, means we can take the concepts of status traditionally associated with jewelry and throw them out the window. So today we have jewelry made from textiles, paper, and even plastic. The symbolism may have evolved, but some things remain the same. Jewelry is a personal expression and brings everyone untold joy. Today is also commemorated as National Canine Veterans Day in US. We are barking up the wrong tree, or our little furry friends are already awesome as it is, but dogs who have been trained to serve our country are even more heroic. Plus, they look so cute and serious in their little uniform. Canine dogs have been around ever since 1942, when an organization called Dogs for Defense was founded to train dogs to be the sentries for supply depots. The program was approved by US Army in March 1942. The US Army Canine Corps were funded on March 13, 1942, and the rest is history, literally. So get ready to celebrate patriotic purpose. Canine dogs are loved and appreciated, but unfortunately, there are some that are left without homes after their service ends. If you are ready for a new pooch, adopt one of these dogs instead of buying one from the breeder. One organization that helps you to find these dogs is linked here. So while we would love to give away retired canine dog, some TLC this day, sometimes you can't locate one for the purposes of treat giving. So in that, if that's the case, show your furry friend how much you love him. You will appreciate it and you will be honoring the spirit of the holiday. It is a win-win. Old dogs can't learn new tricks, but your dog can. Celebrate the incredible training of a canine dog By training your own dog a bit, you will have an excuse to spend time with your dog. And you will feel great when finally you get him to perform the trick. Try starting out with getting your dog to roll over or shake your hand. Dogs also already bring us such joy by being lovable and loyal. However, they bring us even more joy when they are working towards justice. From the first century dogs in dogs of defense to dogs, they are trained to sniff out contraband or follow criminals. Canine dogs can do it all, and they have historically canine dogs have comprised search and rescue teams at ground zero, served as security dogs, and more. We thank them for their service. You know the expressions, there's nothing cuter than a man in uniform. We would like to adapt that because whoever coined it was clearly talking about dogs. We have 2 points to back up this argument. Firstly, there's something so precious about how serious canine dogs get when they are doing their job. Secondly, they put tiny little police vest, case closed. In a time where, say, some parents can't even get their own children to regularly take out the trash, canine dogs are impeccably trained. Some canines are trained to bite down on the arms of criminals to keep them in place upon command. However, the dogs are not allowed to draw blood, so they know exactly how hard to bite down, to hold without being violent. That's incredible canine dogs. We salute you. Today is also commemorated as National No Smoking Day. Every second Wednesday of March will be celebrated as National No Smoking Day. The day is designed as a time to reach out to friends and family members who suffer from nicotine addiction. Research shows that the number of people around the world who still smoke cigarettes are not actively trying to quit is severely dwindling. That stigma surrounding smoking and the dangers of first-hand and second-hand smoke tend to get more severe as the time goes on. But on National No Smoking Day, many are encouraged to help others quit. So, National No Smoking Day originated in the Republic of Ireland in 1984 on Ash Wednesday, when the ruling clergy determined that cigarettes would be a good thing for people to give up for Lent. So, between then and now, the day of holiday has been shifted to a more predictable second Wednesday of March. Medical reports linking smoking to a cancer first appeared in the 1920s. During the 1950s and 1960s, extensive research confirmed tobacco could cause a range of serious diseases. Smoking then became less popular due to rapid increase in knowledge of the health effects of both active and passive smoking. The National Low Smoking Campaign is organized by the British Heart Foundation, whose members came up with a marketing phrase every year. For example, in 2010, the motto was break free. Television ads that year showed smokers breaking cigarettes instead of smoking them. Historically, many heavy smokers populated the Republic of Ireland, but in recent years, the number steadily declined. According to the annual Healthy Ireland survey, 80,000 people stopped smoking over the preceding 3 years. The World Health Organization states tobacco kills up half of its users, with more than 8 million people dying each year. More than 7 million of those deaths are a result of direct tobacco use, while around 1.2 million deaths are a result of exposure to second-hand smoke. Despite the statistics, government warnings, labels, age, and location, restrictions helped create a positive effect on the decline of smoking. Remember, by smoking, you are also killing people, and by killing others, you are becoming murderers, and you have no right to kill any people around you or on the planet because you cannot give life to anyone. So, better stop smoking. Today is also commemorated as National Open and Umbrella Indoors Day in US. It is a day to test popular superstition that opening an umbrella inside will bring bad luck. So superstitions are baseless beliefs held by the people that influence their behavior. They are irrational beliefs that performing or not performing particular acts will lead to either bad luck or good luck. The creation of National Open and Umbrella Indoors Day is credited to Thomas Edward Nip to encourage people to investigate if opening an umbrella indoors could bring a person bad luck. An umbrella is also called parasol, brolly, bumbershoot, rain shade, sunshade, gam, app, or canopy. It is an apparatus made of cloth or metal frame on a metal frame used to protect a person from rain, sunshine, and the elements. Umbrellas have been around since 1000 BC and were first designed by the Egyptians in the West and the Indians in the South East. They were mainly used by the notably and were made from lotus leaves or feathers over a stick frame. The inventions made its way to China, also used by Chinese royalty. Servants made to carry these leather, silk, or cloth contraption over their masters during outings. However, the rest of the population was confined to using umbrellas made out of stout paper. Eventually, umbrellas spread to other parts of the world, such as Korea, Greece, Japan, Rome, etc. The superstition about opening umbrellas indoors can be traced back to the ancient Egypt era. When Egypt worshipped the sun god, it was believed that the act of opening an umbrella indoors would displease their god, so that this was avoided at all costs. The superstition also has roots in the circumstances surrounding the umbrella in England during the 18th century. At that time, umbrellas were not as light and easy to operate. They were rigged with hard metal spokes and were much heavier than they are today. Thus, opening an umbrella inside where others were likely to come to harm was actually dangerous. The idea of opening an umbrella indoors progressed from a mere warning to a superstitious belief. Another superstition is that merely opening an umbrella indoors can't cause bad luck unless the umbrella is black. Black silver coated or umbrellas made from non transparent materials can protect from UV radiation. Umbrellas made from nylon or polyester would be best suited and can protect against moderate winds. Umbrellas are made of canopy, shaft, handle, runner, stretcher, ribs, and springs. Today is also commemorated as Registered Dietitian Nutritionist Day in US. These nutrition and diet professionals help translate the science of nutrition into applicable information for people regarding their food and nutrition choices. They work in almost every field, including healthcare, education, fitness, and the food industry, to improve the physical well being of the general public. Registered dietitians are health professionals who study food, nutrition, and dietetics and use their knowledge to provide relevant information, identify and solve nutritional problems in the people. They may work in a hospital, school, long term care facility, or sports facility providing patient care that may include nutritional counseling, assessments, meal planning, and other services. RDNs continue their education throughout their careers to stay abreast of new information and discoveries. Their commitment to helping patients achieve their health objectives and obtain a greater understanding of their disease is inspiring. In most countries, competent performances as a dietitian nutritionist requires formal training at a higher educational institution in dietetics involving food and nutritional science, nutritional education, and medical nutrition science. Their education in health science involves scientific based knowledge in anatomy, chemistry, biochemistry, biology, and physiology. Clinical dietitians work in hospitals, community dietitians work with wellness programs and public health agencies. Food service dietitians are in charge of large scale food planning and service. Gerontological dietitians are nutrition and aging experts. Pediatric dietitians, business dietitians, and research dietitians are all examples of dietitians in different subdisciplines. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, since 2008, the world's largest organization of food and nutrition professionals, has celebrated Registered Dietitian Nutritionist Day to recognize the important work RDNs do as advocates for improving the nutritional status of Americans and people around the world. Today is also commemorated as Smart and Sexy Day in US to celebrate the skills, quick wit, and ingenuity of magnificent women in their various career fields. Do you know that according to the research, women constitute about 49% of the global workforce? And the number is set to increase as the women have been actively seeking jobs and employment opportunities in recent times. Women have been in workplace since the beginning of time, even during the age of prehistoric men who were all hunters and gatherers. In the agrarian societies, when men moved from hunters to farmers, women were at the forefront of processing farm produce and other tasks relating to their assigned role of support system to the men folks at that time. Historians have discovered opposite and many societies were once matriarchal, with women at the center of ensuring the continued survival and existence of the family unit and subsequently the society. But in recent times, due to new narratives in the global world of what women should do or not do, and which jobs are fit for which sex or not, it has been hard for a larger percentage of women to secure employment, although the gap is being steadily bridged now. The idea of smart and sexy is that women are intelligent and ingenious when it comes to career and workplace. And they also have the ability to dress with such confidence and professionalism that comes with the job. So it is a statement of feminism and competence of beauty and brains. The Smart and Sexy Day is an initiative of the Alliance of Career Development Nonprofits, ACDN, and it is held every year in several parts of the world to train and sensitize women to be self-confident in their lives as it relates to seeking job and career opportunities. The organization teaches women who attend the event job-seeking skills and how to maintain a professional wardrobe, no matter how little funds they have. Any clothing worn to the workplace by either women or men needs to be professional or in keeping with the company policy. Most workplaces have dress codes and codes of conduct that guide them. Recent times have been seen women entering into every field available in all parts of the world, even mining, metalworks, and others that are seen as high risk jobs. The event is celebrated in the United States and countries where Alliance of Career Development nonprofits has a reach. So women undertake a lot of unpaid work. Women take on several responsibilities at home, like caring for children, caring for the sick and elderly, and doing house chores for long hours and without pay. Underrepresentation in corporate spaces, women are grossly underrepresented in top positions of corporate organizations where men fill the bulk of these roles. Women are less likely to leave. Research has shown that women are less likely than men to leave a workplace, especially one in which they receive promotions that have been earned. According to the World Bank, over 100 countries have several work restrictions for women concerning what kind of jobs they can do and under what conditions. Women are more likely to be mistaken for junior employees during the first encounter, but by those who don't know them and their portfolio. Many women would love to work and support their families, but the problem is that the financial inability to obtain the necessary apparel for work has hindered them. This day is an opportunity to support their dreams and help them cross the bridge to become employable and self sufficient. So, with this, we shall end today's commemorations and thank you everyone for joining us on this day. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls. Before leaving the platform. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night.